Good afternoon and welcome to our afternoon session in our third international conference on scholarly writing. And of course, this is the publishing of the global branding in 2020 in teaching and education through this e-learning platform. We have the chance to engage into thought-provoking education as we focus on the teaching and learning process and the Rizal Memorial Colleges right here in Davao City, Philippines will have its great opportunity to contribute and share with the master of knowledge and expertise that it is a kind of a networking platform and a social gathering. Hence, this is a festival of knowledge, accomplished tasks on research. From these digital technologies that has great played role in education of today, a lifelong learning to address a range of expertise to shape and define the field. We know for a fact that we've just begun. The Rizal Memorial Colleges Incorporated, Davao City, Philippines, of course, is just making a difference. It is must attend event to those of us who are always in the field of education. Thank you so much, of course, to our graduate school dean who spearheaded the event, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet, the Council of Deans for Graduate Education president, and together with the ever supportive and beautiful herself, the school president of the Rizal Memorial Colleges, Dr. Evelyn Abeliera Magno, together with the graduate school faculty. We have Dr. Anbeth Bicalia, Dr. Aurelio S. Gomez Jr., Dr. Betty E. Zamora, Dr. Charlie Dion, Dr. Cindy B. Rosil, Dr. Danilo L. Mejica, Dr. Danilo M. Kanda, Dr. Delia Rosilio, Dr. Digna Mini PC Africa, Dr. Efren T. Butlig, Dr. Hernando R. Zamora, Dr. Jimmy F. Barangay, Dr. Josephine B. Baguio, Dr. Lourdes C. Cabintoy, Dr. Luciano O. Marimon Jr., Dr. Marcelo O. Rocco, Dr. Marciano B. Melcher, Dr. Maricel O. Nukiao, Dr. Marites B. Chan, Dr. Mylene M. Blancia, Dr. Nelia B. Aga, Dr. Nelson C. Lopez, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet, Dr. Purificacion S. Yambao, Dr. Remehilda D. Gallardo, Dr. Rene P. Sultan, Dr. Ronaldo L. Ceres, Dr. Wilson E. Gamo, Professor Erlinda A. Magbanwa, Professor Lisa L. Herbilia. Without them, this cannot be accomplished, successful, and remarkable event because we are one together heading on the same direction, complying all the possibility to becoming excellent in the field of expertise in the academe. How about that once again? So, ladies and gentlemen, I know for a fact that we are all very excited because we have nothing but always a very comprehensive, brilliant keynote speakers this afternoon and on our second day tomorrow. So we have the introduction of our keynote speaker, 3, Dr. Remehilda D. Gallardo, a graduate school faculty.
Let us welcome our next speaker of Indonesia. He is the head of language laboratory of STIE, Urbana Surabaya, Indonesia, the president of the International Association of Scholarly Publishers, Editors, and Reviewers, none other than our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Jawari. Topic: Synthesis and Novelty for Building the Framework in Academic Writing.
afternoon. Thank you very much.
Yes, live and alive on screen, our international keynote speaker, all the way from, yes, internationally, Dr. Juwari. Yes, sir. You are live now, sir. You are, hello, sir. You are viewed
Yes, yes.
internationally
Hello.
today in our third conference. Okay, please check your volume, sir. Kindly unmute.
Yes. Oh, you. That's
Hello,
already.
sir. Hello, Dr. Jawari.
Yeah. Hello. Yes. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
yes. We loudly hear now
Yeah.
your voice, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please adjust your
Yeah.
volume so that everyone can hear you because we cannot just let this day
Hello.
passes by without hearing your brilliant idea on research. Hello, sir. Can you hear me on the other line?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Uh, yes, sir.
Hello. Can you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right now, I would like to. Yeah. Now, I would like to share my PowerPoint first. Yes. Anyone can hear me? Hello. Anyone can hear me?
Okay, so this is it. Because we are now in the e-learning platform and in the digital technology, so some sort we experience technical glitches on the other side of the world. But then again, we can still wait for our keynote speaker this afternoon because we know for sure that you have been all waiting for this one. And this is really a brilliant idea on the topic, physics writing techniques for the new normal environment. Okay, so Dr. Jawari is back on the screen live. Okay. Okay, Dr. Jawari is still on.
I, okay.
Okay.
Can you see? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me as the keynote speaker. First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to the presidents of RMC, Dr. Uh, Evelyn McNeil, and also the Dean, Dr. Pablo Busquets. Ladies and gentlemen, and the participants everywhere, the topics that I'm going to present is synthesis and novelty for building the framework in academic writing. In this context, I would like to uh, pinpoint especially the writing techniques in order we can build the framework of any academic writing related to research for publication in a journal, or it can also be in the form of thesis and dissertation. Now, building the framework actually from several syntheses. So, by the time we create the synthesis one, then we try to build a kind of a building of a house from the beginning until we have finished like the ultimate goal of building the house, that is the ceiling. And synthesis 2, synthesis 3, and so on. And at the end, then we have already built the complete framework that are already from cited from our citing these references. So this morning we had already got some techniques using technology that was presented by Dr. Gennaro Hapos. But that is the techniques. But how to make the synthesis from the references that have already taken by citing and also by formulating using the technology. Here now it is the process here. So synthesizing after citing some references, uh, what is actually, so most of the reviewer, especially my experience in uh, reviewing some of the recent article, I always find it difficult to get the new idea after reading all of the references, all of the sentences that have been cited. Why? Because most of the writers always tell. So the writing is always telling. There is no, clear, you know, synthesizing, especially for evaluating of what have been cited here, and most of them get confused, even though the writers or the authors themselves do not feel that, but actually reading the text here, we can find that there is something that problem that the writer or the authors have been facing here. And in this case, for example, I would like to give you the example of actually the refined sources that we have already cited. So filtering the sources of ideas is also important to get the refined one. So citing is not only jotting down or writing all of the statement on the paper, but or on the computer, but it is refining, the process of refining. So it is a kind of refining the water. And research synthesis is the integration of existing knowledge and research finding pertinent to an issue. And the aim of synthesis is to increase the generality and applicability of those findings and to develop new knowledge through the process of integration. That was Wyburn in C 2018. So references that we have already cited, that we have already written on the paper, even though it is manually or using technology like what was practiced by Dr. Gennaro Japos, is directed to the new knowledge. Is directed to the knowledge. That is why uh, synthesis is a kind of filtering the resources of ideas from the references that we have cited, and in the long run, and that is the novelty. And the next one, what is synthesizing? So synthesizing is combining different aspects of your ideas and research and the ideas of others in order to produce new ideas. So it is kind of a mapping. So mapping allows the student, for example, if we want to explain to the student, or if we want to explain to the readers, to build new and meaningful knowledge links by active management, engagement. So after we cite some sentences or references from different sources, then there must be new ideas. That is our originality, and that is called novelty. If we do like this, every passage that we have already cited, I think the machine of plagiarism is not needed, because if we do like this, then the plagiarism, it will be not so much identified. And because of there is no novelty, and there is no process of synthesizing of citing all of the sentences or references, then the plagiarism detection machine have problem with this, and therefore it can also increase the plagiarism. But if we always synthesizing what we have already written or cited, then I think there is no plagiarism detection. And the example of the unsynthesized references after we cite from the many literatures, for example, France, 2008, studied undergraduate online students. He looked at 17 females and 18 females and found that none of them liked EBA. According to France, the evidence suggested that all students are reluctant to learn citation style. Paris, in 2010, also studies undergraduate students. She looked at 42 females and 50 females and found that males were significantly more inclined to use citation software. Findings suggest that females might graduate sooner. Woolston Retailov looked at British undergraduate. Among a sample of 50 all females, all confident in their ability to decide and were eager to write their dissertation. If we read like this, even though the authors are diligently able to cite from the original resources or references, this is nothing. We do not have something new. We do not have what is the refined idea, what is the other idea after citing all of this. And this is ridiculous. If you cite like this, but there is no more evaluation, so that we have the new one that is called synthesis for a small novelty. And this one is the synthesized citation. So studies of undergraduate students reveal conflicting conclusion regarding relationship between advanced scholarly study and citation efficacy. So the top sentence here is the author's original idea. This is derived from evaluation of the references that have been cited. And this is called the synthesized citation. Although France found that no participant enjoyed learning style, citation style, Goldens determined a larger study that all participants felt comfortable citing sources, suggesting that variables among participant and control group population must be examined more closely. Although Paris expanded on France's original study with a larger, more diverse sample, and so on and so forth. So this is the references that are already cited. Whether we cited here after paraphrasing using technology or not, if we don't have any synthesized the citation, that it is still telling, not synthesizing, not creating the novelty. So if that is the case, we have already known that actually how to synthesize. Here we have four steps. Number one, so don't only be good at citing and finding the references in Google Scholars or many other techniques of technology we do. the more important thing is number one, organize the sources. Number two, outline the structure. Yeah, in relation to one idea to another one. So the relationship, whether there is a similarity or there is a kind of differences, and then we evaluate and then we synthesize. Number three, write paragraph with topic sentences. If finished, it doesn't mean that it is already good. We might also revise it, edit, and proofread. If we always do this, then paraphrasing will be better and better. But if we stop only writing the paragraph after the outlining, the citation from paraphrasing is still rough, and therefore it can still be detected by the grammar, the plagiarization machine. But if we revise, edit, and proofread, and that is our own sentence or idea after evaluating the references or citation. And step one, organize your sources. Write all citation depending on the sources of the research we have read and summarized. And number two, draw a table with the columns related to the research body and check the similarities and differences and try to summarize based on that checklist. So this is the step one. So in order our paraphrasing from citation and so on and so forth can be to be original, we have to try to do like this. Step one, by writing all the citation, draw the table, for example, and then we can organize either chronologically if it is uh, chronological, or we can organize thematically based on something that is related to the ideas, important from the less important, and so on and so forth. So this is step two. And step three, write paragraph of each citation, then summarize the paragraph. After that, discuss the differences. I believe if we cite or if we quote from different previous studies, we will find differences or similarities. And therefore, this morning, Dr. Davos stated what is called in the at the end of the introduction, there must be a kind of research gap and discuss the differences based on similarities and differences. And then after that, condense the summary based on point two of the differences and or similarities. The next one is the last, that is revise, edit, and proofread. So if we have finished, it can also ask someone else to proofread. So proofreading is also important in this case. Otherwise, there are some ideas that might be still need to be edited or revised. So read and reread paragraph in the summary, and then edit when necessary according to each of the sources based on the similarities and differences. And then proofread. However, we can still need other reviewer or readers to proofread. So this is if we have done like this, yeah, then our research paper or journal article will be better rather than we have already finished and then we submit to the journal publisher. So this is the process of how to get the the original ideas from synthesizing to get the novelty for building the framework. This is the way of listing the references that we have already done. Yeah, for example, if there are, for example, three sources, we can also make a table of the aim. For example, the first research or the first reference that we cite has to examine the factors learning motivation. The second, to increase learners' motivation. And the third, to find factors affecting learners' motivation. So this is the example of making the lesson a table of all the references of the previous studies that we cited. Also the method. It can be different or it can be similar. So quantitative, descriptive using type it. This is a qualitative interview and qualitative descriptive statistics using SPSS, for example. And also the population and also the conclusion and evaluation. I believe if we have that kind of mapping, then we can also describe by ourselves using our own idea, using the different, perspective from different sources. And our description, our argument, our sentences, our, research paragraph based on this kind of list will be new. That is important. That will be new. There is nothing is the same as what is already stated. And for example, summarize the main points or argument related to small team. For example, this is wider team factors affecting the student motivation. Source number one, facilities at the school. Source number two, teacher skill and expertise. Source number three, the students motivated learning because of their home condition. So there are, this is also very important. Yeah, in order we can evaluate each of the resources. The more resources we read, the better, because we can also make some of the map, whether it is categorized into the similarities or the differences. And we can talk about this, and then our talking, our description, based on this, that is the originality. And the next one, for example, after having that kind of list and table, then we can write our own sentence like this. Facilities at school, teacher skill, and home condition are the three factors that can uh, that can increase students' motivation. So this is the synthesis from where from the citation that we have already done. And whose sentence is this? Our own sentence, the author own sentence. There is no sentence from the citation like this, but this is our own from evaluating facilities at school, and this is the description. So if we always do like this, then everything is original. Everything is always novelty. Yeah, everything is always synthesized, and this is good for us, especially if we want to write the, research article to increase, our originality, and also getting the novelty for our own originality in our research paper. Yeah. Uh, this one after being edited. So that was the paragraph that is, the step number three, number two. Now the last step. After being edited like this, yeah, look at better. Even though the previous one was also better, it's good. Facilities at school, teacher skill, and home conditions are the three factors that can increase, uh, student motivation. First, yeah, another factor, not only but also. So these are connected in one integrated idea becoming our own idea. First, a study conducted by Edward using 70 students in his analysis showed that school facilities have important role in the effort of increasing student motivation to learn. Students with complete facilities at school tend to get high score because they feel well existing. Another factor that can affect student motivation is the teacher's expertise. This is proved by the evidence in Brown's study. Based on his study with 70 students analyzed, it was found that teacher skill or expertise is essential for making the student motivated. Not only school facilities and the teacher's expertise, according to Christopher, after interviewing 25 students, this is the different method using qualitative with higher scores. He also found that home condition is the most important factor for them to learn. This is after being edited. But this, what is the difference between the previous one? Yeah, even though this is also a good, the difference is that this already, even though this is already synthesized, yeah, but there is no cohesiveness here. So first, another factor, not only but also. This is condensed, the condensed one. The machine cannot do this. This is the author's way of the scale. This is the author scale. We cannot do this kind of evaluating, integrating, incorporating using machine. Machine does not have this kind of ability. This is our own ability. But machine can always get the references, but the machine cannot integrate like this. So this is the example of the synthesizers after being edited. Thus, if that is the case, we have already helped the readers able to map their mind after reading our ideas. That is creating novelty. So mapping is a kind of the process of reading, and the readers can map their mind after reading our writing if our writing is conducted or done in that way by synthesizing. So in a mind map, information is structured in a way that mirrors exactly how the brain functions in a radian rather than linear. So it is not linear because we all are already combined from different references, and then we try to find the similarities and differences, and we create the new one. So it literally maps out our thought using association, connection, and triggers to simulate further. Mapping allows the student to build new and meaningful knowledge or the readers by active engagement. So this is the mapping after reading the citation that we have already evaluated and synthesized, becoming the novelty. And if we draw the framework in the figure, so if we draw the framework in the figure, what we have already cited is like this: school facilities, teachers, expert, home condition, then affecting affecting the student motivation. This is the new idea or novelty that has already been drawn in the figure after we have mapped from what we have already read from the references that we have cited. Now, if we have always if we have always done like this so many, it can also be so many or several syntheses. If we always read some references and then we always synthesize and then we collect all of the synthesize, then several synthesizing becoming our work of the whole research. So this is the way how to build the framework. So our framework is from reading and writing, but the way how to write is by analyzing so that we can synthesize into a novelty, our own idea. The more synthesized uh, references, the more we have novelties, and this is our own, or original ideas from synthesizing and evaluating what we have already read or cited. And thesis, antithesis. This is I try to incorporate to compromise synthesis. There are many theses that we cited, but in any occasion, we can also find another antithesis. If we find thesis and antithesis, then we then able to create a new synthesis. For example, Brown argued that learning English as a second language is different from learning English as a foreign language. Now let's understand this quotation. When there is not any modification of learning strategies in the classroom, the learners will learn English difficultly in English if English is their foreign language. On the contrary, for the learners who use English as their second language, they will learn it more easily. So, Brown thesis stating that learners will learn English difficultly if it is a foreign language, but they will learn much more easily when English is a second language. Now the antithesis, different one. So if we cite better to get the different angle in order we can get the research gap that was also stated by the previous keynote speaker to find the gap. Unlike David, he stated that there is no difference between learning English as a second language and that English as a foreign language when the classroom processes made meaningful. Though, in this case, focusing on meaningful classes. When teachers modify the classroom processes in a meaningful way, the learners will learn English more easily for either English as a second language or English as a foreign language. So this is antithesis. And this is our synthesis. Then learning English as a second language is similar to learning English as a foreign language, provided that the classroom process is made meaningful. This synthesis number one is combining or synthesizing or the novelty or the refined idea from thesis and antithesis. This is synthesis one. We can also find another one that is also again the first thesis and the antithesis. For example, this one. Now, synthesis one that we have already created, this one, This is our own, because we have already synthesized from thesis and antithesis. This is not the first author nor the second author, but this is it is ours. Learning English as second language is similar to learning English as a foreign language, provided that the classroom process is made meaningful. Then there is another one. Learning any language, whether it is English as a foreign language, EFL, or English as a second language, does not always require the target language exactly the same as the native speaker way of acquisition. When looking at the concept of what English is, English as a tends to be learned communicatively. English is spoken by many nations with their identities that characterizes their typical accent and varieties. And this is also different uh, ideas. English spoken by Indian and that spoken by Malaysian and also Philippine, Indonesian are different. But they can also still communicate using English, even in writing. And this is the second antithesis. From this second antithesis, we summarize again this one, synthesis 2. Learning English for the learners is more complex problem. But when the teachers understand the condition of the learners, whether they are learners of AFL or SSL, differences among the learners' background can be taken into account when the classroom process begins. Ah, if we can do like this is the best idea. And this is the best synthesis and this is the best novelty. Even though this one is also good, this is also the best because it is our own. But this is also the process of the ultimate one. And not all of the researchers or authors finding to this ultimate synthesis too. Let alone this one, even this one. Usually they have already cited, and there is no novelty, there is no evaluation, just citing and writing what the authors or references stated. But this one is the ultimate one, this is the best one. So this is the way how to build the framework that is our own. No one else own that. And if we, for example, summarize this one. So EFL already, ESL, and L1. Yeah, becoming this one. So mapping to create novelty based on multiple synthesis. Yeah, multiple synthesis. So this is the best. Yeah, even though the previous is also good. Unfortunately, even though the previous is never attained by the authors. The authors usually taken for granted from the references without analyzing, without synthesizing. Ladies and gentlemen, that is about how to build the framework. Now I would like to make you aware, compare these two some simple things. So the left side and the right side. Arthur argued that the learner's first language affect acquisition of their target language in the learning process. Bradley found that the learner's first language system hinders their learning process in the second language classes. Christopher found in his research that the learners who were learning English as a second language found difficulty in acquiring English during their study period of one semester. Bad academic writing due to no new ideas created from the citation. It shows that the author is unable to analyze what he has cited, even though the citation already done properly using technology, for example. but this is nothing. Now look at the right side. Some studies have found that learners' first language can affect their target language acquisition in the classroom. This is our own. First, it was proved by Arthur. Now, this is the supporting idea. A study analyzing the learner's English. This is new sentences without using machine. But this is our own sentences. Paraphrasing. Yeah. Because we explain by our own based on the reference. It was proved by Arthur. Yeah, there is no the same phrases in his study analyzing our own language, the learner's English language acquisition through the classroom activities. There were 20 students under his study that the first language system hindered their learning English as a second language. Another finding supporting Arthur's evidence is a study by Bradley. This is our own. In his research on 40 students, he found that the learner's language system they have learned from their first language have affected their target language acquisition. Like Arthur and Bradley Christopher also agreed that the learner's first language is the crucial factor inhibiting their English acquisition in the classroom. Now, this is the example of synthesis, novelty, and our own language. So we try to describe by ourselves using the references that we have already done by analyzing, and we have to create our own idea like this. And from that, we have the checklist. So after doing or reading or watching what I have already presented, actually there is a checklist for synthesis. Number one, do I introduce the paragraph with a clear, focused topic sentence? Do I discuss more than one source in the paragraph? Do I mention only the most relevant finding rather than describing every part of the study? Yeah, we have to describe. Do I discuss the similarities or differences? Yeah, so whether the references that we have cited here have similarities or differences, and do we discuss it rather than summarizing each source in turn? Do I put the findings or argument of the sources in my own words? This is the novelty. Is the paragraph organized? Even though we have already up to number 5, we need this one. Is the paragraph organized around a single idea? Is the paragraph directly relevant to my research question or topic? This is more important. And is there a logical transition of the paragraph of the next one? Yeah, this one. So not only but also first and so on and so on. Here is the last one, and that is the process of citing. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my presentation. I got the references to this one, and I hope that kind of presentation can help you understand that actually novelty synthesis is important, because by doing that with the step what I have already given, machine of plagiarism is not needed. Because if we do it, then everything will be original, everything will be our own, everything will be a novelty. Thank you very much. Yes, I give it to the committee and the moderator, uh, Dr. Anna B. Arjuna.
Thank you so much, Dr. Juwari. Hello there, sir. Hi, Dr. Juwari. So let's give Dr. Juwari a virtual clap. Can you hear me, Dr. Juwari? Very comprehensive, Dr.
Yes,
Juwari.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much,
Thank you.
Dr. Juwari. Hello, dear sir.
Yes, thank you.
Hi,
Yes,
Dr.
I'm going
Juwari.
to
So
share
let's
about
give Dr.
uh,
Juwari a virtual clap. Can you hear me, Dr. Juwari? Very comprehensive, Dr. Juwari.
hello.
Okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, to our worldwide participants, of course, we also would like to congratulate our Professor Juwari, the International President of the International Association of Scholarly Publishers, Editors, and Reviewers. And he is also at the same time the head of language in Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Economy. Of course, we also would like to congratulate our Professor Juwari, the International President of the International. Would you like to say something, Dr. Juwari, to our worldwide participants of today? I know for a fact that education plays a significant tool to their inner and outer strength, especially so that we experience on this challenge on the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank
Would you like
you.
to say something,
Uh,
Dr. Chumari, to our worldwide participants of today? I know for a fact that education plays a significant tool to their inner and outer
thank
strength,
you.
especially
Thank
that we
you,
experience
ladies
this.
and gentlemen, especially the audience and also the presidents of RMC, uh, Dr. Evelyn Alevira Mando, and also to the, the Dean, Dr. Pablo Esque, and also the ICN moderator. So today I'm uh,
Okay,
the
we're trying
two
to
speakers.
grasp on the other
Which one?
line.
Uh,
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Jawari. I know for a fact that you would like to really convey your message to everyone, especially that this is really an international conference. And for that, we also would like to give the Rizal Memorial Colleges the certificate of recognition. And for that, this is from the Commission on Higher Education, Philippine Association for Graduate Education, Council of Deans for Graduate Education, the Philippine Association of Institutions for Research, Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Economy, the International Association of Scholarly Publishers, Editors, and Reviewers at the Rizal Memorial Colleges Incorporated award the certificate of recognition to Professor Jawari for being the keynote speaker on the topic of the yes on the thesis writing techniques for the new normal environment, given today, the 27th day of November 2020 at Davao City, Philippines, with the theme Educational Empowerment in the New Normal through Collaboration among ASEAN colleges and universities. Signed, our President of the Rizal Memorial Colleges, Dr. Evelyn Abellera Magno, the Graduate School Dean and the Council of Graduate Schools, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet, the COGI President, the Council of Deans for Graduate Education, and the President of Page 11, Dr. Victoria T. Lopase. Congratulations to Dr. Juwari for giving us your brilliant idea, and for sure, this will be another study that will give us a great contribution in the global dimension in the Research International Conference. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you and see you. Thank you very much Miss
Okay.
for having me. I think this is my first call, but I'm very glad and I'm thankful and I'm grateful to be one of you in this case at this time for this international conference regarding the rewriting. This is a very important topic, and I appreciate very much to all of the faculties and to the president and the dean. Thank you, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We are really trying to reach you out despite of the connectivity and the time and distance that we both have, Dr. Juari. We tried to connect and what you are saying to our audience today. I'm sure our participants are just very blessed and privileged enough having you in this international conference. Okay, thank you so much, sir, and we are looking forward to seeing you once again in the international conferences at the Rizal Memorial Colleges. And Dr. Pablo F. Busquet is extending his warmest regards to you and the rest of the graduate school faculty. Yes, Dr. Busquet is here, Dr. Juari. Yes, he's
Hello,
right
Dr.
behind.
Jory.
Hello,
Congratulations, my friend.
hello.
You did it. You're
Thank
really
you.
very awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Juari. So nothing can really
Welcome.
separate us. Even on this e-learning platform, we connect. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be
Thank you.
putting you backstage now in our StreamYard. Bye bye. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much, Sir Eugene, our technical director. And of course, we're moving on that education is really the most important tool in our inner and outer strength. This brings out any chance and desired opportunities and chances that we have to give in our academic endeavors with the educational mission, delivering positive results in the higher education institutions and the pursuit of greater excellence. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have our next batch of presenters who are all excited to really share the masters of their expertise in the field of specialization. And to start off with, we have our first presenter in our afternoon session in the title paper of Beyond the Call of Duty, Book Designers and Illustrators in Focus. We have Mr. Frederick Dumagan.
Hi! To all the researchers and viewers that are watching right now, good day to all of you. Today, please allow me to present to you my research entitled Beyond the Call of Duty, DepEd Book Designers and Illustrators in Focus. Presented by yours truly, I am Frederick Dumagan, a Master of Arts of Educational Management graduate of our very own Rizal Memorial Colleges. And by the way, I am a TLE teacher here in Digo City National High School. Before we start, allow me to read this quote from Gary Keller. You can do two things at once, but you can focus effectively on two things at once. Now, let me tell you a little bit background and my story in how I come up with this study. The story started when I received a memo from the division office that asking my school head to send for training to those selected teachers that has a know-how in computer, especially in using Photoshop. And since the department head know that I have a knowledge and skills in Photoshop because of the favor that she also asked to create a banners and tarpaulins in our school, she decided to send me in the training. And to make the story short, now I am a DepEd illustrator trained by the Bureau of Learning Resource with the National Book Development Board. The selection of the said teachers as an illustrators, as well as this research study, is anchored to the Republic Act 10533 and duly signed by Secretary Leonor M. Briones, year 2019, entitled Implementing Rules of Basic Education, Act of 2013. In Section 10 states that production and development of locally produced teaching and learning materials shall be encouraged. And it is also inspired by the DepEd Memorandum number 33, series of 2019, announcing the Department of Education National Pool of Illustrators, where I am part of it. This DepEd National Illustrator shall be tapped in the development and production of visual arts of centrally procured, DepEd in-house developed and conceptualized learning resources and supplementary materials in various formats. Now, these are the examples of pictures of my colleagues during trainings and write-shops. In this write-shop, we eat, we sleep, and illustrate within 10 days, just to finish a single module to be published and reproduced by DepEd Central Office later on. Take note, being an illustrator is not limited to make illustrations, but we also design the whole book. That's why we are also called book designers. So why or how did I come up with this research? Well, as a researcher, I haven't encountered a study where male DepEd teachers were tapped to work for publication of a book as an illustrator or a book designer. Since there has been an issue as pertains to the efficiency in the classroom performance of the male teachers who are engaged in the book designing, thus this study will provide and unlock the ideas of the male book designers and illustrators in our division. So what is the purpose of this research? The purpose of this phenomenological study is to explore the narratives of DepEd male teachers who are engaged in book publication as an illustrator or designer. Further, this study will unravel the experiences of the male teachers as a book illustrator, as well as the challenges faced by these male teachers. It is hoped that some educational policies will be recommended to support the rare endeavors of these highly skilled and talented male DepEd teachers in the division of Digos City. So here are the methods and challenges of this study. The way to conduct this study is through qualitative research, employing phenomenology. Interviews were conducted with a group of individuals who have first-hand knowledge of an event, situation, or experience. In this study, phenomenology attempts to extract and to saturate personal experiences with the subject. The goal is to access the thoughts, feelings of the study participants. It involves asking important questions and to talk about things that may be very personal to them. However, the data are being collected is a primary responsibility of the researcher. It is to safeguard participants and their data. So here, as you can see in the process, I relied on the voices and interpretations of the participants through intensive codes, as well as themes that reflected their words and evidences of different perspectives. The answers of the participant to the study were coded and analyzed to build and construct the commonality and discreteness of responses. Honestly, extracting qualitative is a bit challenging in my part as a researcher in terms of data analysis from the tape recordings and transcriptions. This was done to gain greater familiarity with the data and deeper insight. I relied on my own resources to do the transcription with the use of desktop computer and some reliable headphones. I used several nights to listen to the interviews to deepen my understanding, as well as detailed transcription appropriate for conversation or narrative analysis. Now, the participants in this study were composed of 8 informants. The selected informants were the male DepEd teachers of the school's division of Digos City. All of these male teachers have been members of the Bureau of Learning Resource in book designing and illustrating, as well as they are also called by the Concerned Learning Resource Committee in our division. and these participants have undergone trainings as members. In this study, the data collected are carefully examined and thoughtfully analyzed. Me as the researcher begins with full description of her own experience of the phenomenon. The focus can be directed to the participants as I develop a list of significant statements. Now, let's go to my findings after I conducted the in-depth interview of each participant. In order to answer the question as mentioned in this part of the research, as I said a while ago, I conducted an in-depth interview to solicit the participant thoughts, particularly in their experiences as classroom teachers, as well as their additional designated jobs as book designers and illustrators. And so, what are the professional and career challenges of book designers and illustrators? As you can see in the diagram, there is a great challenge indeed for somebody who doesn't have an inherent skills in performing the task, considering that he is more inclined with other areas of concern aside from being an illustrator. As we all know, having interest on something is necessary if you intend to be successful in your chosen career or task. The participants also pointed out that some is not really into digitalization. Some consider themselves a newbie in the world of digitalization, a craft that is necessary in today's illustrating skills. So here, as we can see, that some of the participants reiterated that being a book designer or illustrator entails a lot of time to work on. They said it is an additional job for them as they do not have enough knowledge in performing the job. However, some trainings are given to them to facilitate their assigned tasks. They need to spend the quality time in book designing and illustrating. There were also times when they were to leave to their respective classes to finish their illustration. To work outside the perimeters of the schools, it was also notable that in case they don't finish their drawings and illustration jobs, they bring it home that may also affect their family time. In contrary, one of the participants reiterated his passion in doing job as an illustrator. He found satisfaction and greatly fascinated about his work that after a few hours of doing such, he was able to see the results of his dedication to work and finish the product of his skills. He mentioned that he is enjoying his job as an illustrator. One of the participants also said that his dedication to join the Guild of Illustrators in the division gained more friends and provide more opportunities for him to pursue. This participant also emphasized that attending trainings and seminars along with his colleagues provided him with a better experience in doing his job. Gaining such award and recognition boosts the morale of the book designers and illustrators. Some of the participants have experienced joyful moments and satisfaction as their respective competing materials garnered some awards and recognitions during the regional competitions they attended. The participants in this research have shared a lot of design techniques also, as well as they also shared a lot of individual experiences in book designing and illustrating. They have so many experiences together. However, majority of them agree in one thing. They said that they have all improved their quality of designs and illustrations. I can say that the designing skills are very significant if given the chance to be part of the division book designing and illustrators. It is imperative that one assigned to do the task have pre-existing skills to make the task of book publication. Typically, the most obvious problems causing low productivity will be from lack of sufficient training on software, technology, and digitalization. I would like also to point that there is less number of designers and illustrators in our division. Considering the lesser number of the task performers, the less results are expected. Generations of the participants in this case were more focused in their issue pertaining to the very first commitment. That is the classroom teaching. Do they have a choice? They left no choice but to perform their assigned tasks. These teachers continually to do their work as book designers and illustrators despite their shortcomings. Though we can say that their work is worth all the appreciations, commendations, and support. Now here are my suggestions and recommendations. As they were sharing their experiences, there were some issues that requires the possibility of reviewing the school policies and DepEd policies. Hence, from the views of the book designer and illustrators, this educational policy review is proposed to address some of the issues within the scope of this research. Here is the suggested education policies brief for the school heads. First is to establish criteria for selection of book designers and illustrators. It was revealed from the narration of the concerned teachers that the selection of participants as book designers and illustrators were not properly disseminated. Findings from the study shows that some of the book designers and illustrators were simply appointed by their respective learning resource coordinators, just to have somebody to represent the school. The participants cited that there is a need to establish a criterion for the selection of book designers and illustrators. A proper selection of participants may be thoroughly done so that the one who is selected bears all skills needed to perform the task. We also encourage to provide enough time to finish the project. Oftentimes, these illustrators have to bring home their work just to comply with the dates of submission. It is strongly suggested that enough time allocated to each particular task in order to beat the deadline. Lastly, the possibility of hiring full-time illustrator or designer. The narratives of the participants glaringly captured their sentiments while performing their responsibilities. They were united in suggesting that if there is a possibility of hiring a teacher or as a full-time book designer and illustrator, the faculty can give full attention to his work and can comply with the deadline set to publish the book. This will also speed up the production of learning materials deemed necessary in implementing the curriculum. So what may happen in the future? The result of this study may be presented to the DepEd officials in the schools division of Digo City, and of course, another research may be conducted related to this research, but will give more focus in the content and quality and quantity of the published books. The same study may also be conducted in other regions to verify the results of the study. Before I end this presentation, allow me to leave this message to you. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. So thank you for patiently watching. I hope you gained knowledge and insights regarding my research and presentation. Goodbye and God bless.
Thank you so much to our first presenter, Mr. Frederick Dumagan, on his topic, Beyond the Call of Duty, Book Designers and Illustrators in Focus. Congratulations, sir. And of course, to the equally proud advisor, Dr. Marciano B. Melchor. I'm pretty sure that all this are very excited to witness on the awarding ceremonies tomorrow, our second day of our third International Research Conference. And with us in our second video presentation, we have Ms. Hel Marie Tiboron on the contributions of modern technology in the advanced learning. Is it like a fact or a bluff?
Blessed day, everyone. It's my honor and privilege to be part of the third International Conference on Scholarly Writing and Research Publishing for Global Branding, with the theme Educational Empowerment in the New Normal through Collaboration among ASEAN Colleges and Universities. By the way, I'm Ms. Jelmarie B. Tiboron, and I am going to present to you my study about modern technology in the advanced learning, a fact or a bluff. The quality of education is one of the most significant factors that contribute to the success of a student and the school where quality education and learning takes place. It's where Nowadays, the implementation of technologies in education can be seen not only in tertiary institution, but also in primary and secondary. Technology is seen as an important tool in today's world, where most of the affairs such as business, networking, and undeniably even in education are done using technological devices. The quality of education an institution might produce could somehow depend on how modernized and equipped the technology being integrated. In addition, modern technology has always been at the forefront of human education. According to Gilakjani and Lame in 2012, they elaborated that unique opportunities technologies provide have brought about new tools, approaches, and strategies in teaching and learning of language skills. Technologies are increasingly widespread, impacting many aspects of our social and work lives and many of our leisure activities. The objective for this phenomenological study is to unearth if the modern technology advances the students' learning. Introducing modern technology to students in a classroom setting can certainly help the educational environment, but it also requires equal access for all the students to ensure that everyone receives the same opportunities to success. That is why the researcher decided to explore this study to know whether advanced technology aids in the advanced learning of the students. Technology has been a part of our lives and now has been essential tool for the benefit of educational matters. This research aims to know whether advanced technology aids in the advanced learning of the students. More specifically, it seeks to find the answer to the following questions. Our statement of the problem number one. What are the views of the senior high school students using modern technology in the classroom? Statement of the problem number two. How does modern technology improve the senior high school students' learning? Statement of the problem number three. What are the lessons and insights derived from the views of the senior high school students in advancing the learning of modern technology? And for our theoretical lens, this study is anchored in the constructivism theory of Piaget 1972, wherein it is a learning theory in psychology that proposes humans build their knowledge and meanings from their experiences and their ideas. Piaget's theory of constructivism argues that people produce knowledge and form meaning based upon the experiences. This study used qualitative techniques in gathering and employed an in-depth interview or IDI to be having a truthful idea, efficiency of knowledge, reliability of information, and to have mere fact about the research problem based on the views of the senior high school students. The design is in-depth interview or IDI because of the data that mainly shows the views of the senior high school students to the modern technology in advancing their learning. The participants of this study were the 10 senior high school students of the Senior High School Department of the Rizal Memorial Colleges Incorporated. Purposive sampling were done in choosing the participants. There were 5 men and 5 women with equal distribution of participants. The participants were selected because they experienced the current phenomena that this study unearths. For the results and discussion, first concern was the effectiveness on the views of students with regard to the use of modern technology in advancing the knowledge of the students. The researchers considered the three essential themes. The first one is insufficient modern technology equipment. Second one, making innovations and discovering new strategies. Third one, cultivating positive and teaching learning atmosphere, which is connected to the final theme, effective. The use of the technology in schools and education has been increasingly rapid as viewed by the participants, which we consider to be productively deliver lessons to the students. The result is supported by the study of Abadines 2017, wherein he stated that advanced technology adds to the participation and excitement of the students to the lessons since they are more inclined into the use of smartphones, iPads, and others. And it also makes students understand and comprehend the lessons in a more relaxed environment without the pressure and prejudice of their teachers and classmates. And for the second question, how does modern technology improve the senior high school students' learning? The researcher considered the three essential themes. The first one is embracing the new way of presenting a lesson. The second one, accepting that technology upgrades students' learning skills. And the third one, the challenges on the use of new technology, in which it is connected to the final theme, encouraged. Based on the response of the participants, modern technology really aids students in learning new concepts in a much more comprehensive and easier way and is now embracing the new way of presenting the lesson. The result strongly supports the study of Solanki 2012, wherein technology offers a lot of benefits as making teaching interesting and more productive in terms of advancements. The use of technology helps learners get involved and learn based on their interests. It has been extensively accepted for teaching English in the modern world. Technology satisfies both visual and auditory senses of the learners. The third question for this study is to discover the lessons and insights derived from the views of the senior high school students in advancing the learning of modern technology. So we considered the three essential themes: influence of modern technology and the students' interests, improved learning outcomes, and of course, the last one is an attainable outcomes, which is connected to the final theme, efficient. As mentioned by the participants of this study, students and same with the teachers also benefit in having the convenience in getting information through the use of technology. Students can make use of technology in making the requirements for school. They can even learn more given the fact that information is wider and greater with the use of technology compared to the information in the library of the school. The modern technology in advancing the learning of the students had both positive and negative impact to the students. Given the generation of today being inclined to technology and having a technology-based kind of learning causes them to be more engaged in the learning experience. They tend to be more attentive, especially when they are able to utilize technology individually or hands-on. And through this, they were able to understand what is being tackled about since they have been part of the learning experience. Based on the results in the data analysis from the interviews, sharing of experiences, and pointing out their insights, I have found out that it is a fact that modern technology advances the learning of senior high school students. And I am your researcher, Ms. Jelmarie B. Tiboran. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you to our second presenter, Ms. Helmarie Tiboron, on her topic, Contributions on Modern Technology in the Advanced Learning, a fact or a bluff? Thank you, ma'am, and congratulations. And now we're moving on to our third presenter for today, Mr. Pedro P. Raimunde Jr., on his topic, Unfolding the Lived Experience of the College Students' Language Learning Strategies via their English Proficiency, a Government Design, a Convergent Design.
Good day. I'm Pedro P. Raimundo Jr., unfolding the lived experiences of the college students' language learning strategies vis-a-vis their English proficiency, a convergent design. English is inevitably the bridging language of the global village, where it has become the language of business, law, and education. It is the medium of instruction in many academic institutions, and it is a subject required in all levels. According to Ella in 2018, learning the language has become an ordeal activity to students because of the mismatch of the teaching methods and learners' language learning strategy that affects the learner's English proficiency. This brings the English language educators face the challenge of addressing the needs of the growing number of students whose primary language is not English. In the study conducted by Education First in 2016, Laos with 38.45%, Libya with 37.82%, and Iraq with 37.65% showed the lowest English proficiency among Asian countries, while Philippines got 60.33%. The Philippines is known as one of the best users in the English language. Filipinos can use the English language effectively, whether it is oral or written. But today, it is just part of history. These statements and facts compel the researcher to explore how learners' language learning strategy promotes proficiency and eventually provide concrete ways to enhance English proficiency. Hopkins International Partners 2018 revealed that Filipino university graduates average 630 on English proficiency based on the test of English for international communication. This means that the English proficiency of the university graduates was comparable to the proficiency of 5th and 6th grade students in native English speaking countries such as the United States and of America and United Kingdom. TIMA in 2018 stated that the level of English proficiency, particularly in comprehension and grammar of college graduates from the Philippines, is lower than the target English proficiency of high school students in Thailand. Language learning strategies, which generally refer to the learner's preferred way of language, have been widely researched and discussed in the field of second language acquisition. Since English language plays importance in individuals' life, learners find that there is a necessity to gain proficiency in English while mastering other skills and content in other subject areas. Many researchers believe that strategies for language learning are very important for they become the tools for active involvement in their language development. Throughout a period of time, empirical studies have been carried out along with language learning strategies and English proficiency, such as Habok and Magar in 2018, which they concluded that more proficient learners avail themselves of a broader range of strategies than less proficient students in strategy use a significant effect on foreign language marks. Locally, in Davao de Oro, as most of the state colleges and universities in the area adopted a new curriculum to address and cope with the new curriculum in the basic education, it has been observed by most of the teachers that the level of English proficiency of the products of the K 12 curriculum, especially in grammar and reading comprehension, do not reflect on their level of development. Thus, with the result of this study, it will become the baseline information for the enhancement of the curriculum instruction and assessment in the tertiary level. It would help the curriculum developers to look at the strengths and loopholes of the newly constructed curriculum in the tertiary level. Also, teachers can promote the types of strategies that could meaningfully attract students to become active, effective, and successful second language learners. And additionally, it would also be beneficial to the learners as they would know the strategy that works for them. And knowing the strategy that works for them would help them to become proficient and effective in using the language, whether in oral or written. Pragmatism as a worldwide view arises from actions, situations, and consequences rather than precursor conditions. It focuses on the process of verification, accentuating a proposition or the successful working of an idea. This applies to mixed methods research, such as this study, in that inquirers draw liberally from both quantitative and qualitative assumptions when they engage in the research. There are three theories that is anchored in this study. The first one is McLaughlin's theory of language learning strategy, in which it states that some students become more successful in learning the language because they have effective strategies used while learning the language. The second one is the theory of planned behavior, in which it states that the performance of a behavior is a joint intention and perceived behavioral control. And the last one is the constructivist theory by John Dewey, which states that every genuine experience has an active side, which changes in some degree depending on the individual himself, and students have different strategies to learn a particular concept or idea. The independent variable of this study is the language learning strategies, which has six indicators, namely memory, cognitive, compensation, metacognitive, affective, and social. And the dependent variable is the English proficiency, which has an indicator of grammar and reading proficiency. The purpose of this study is to unbox the status of college students' language learning strategies and their English proficiency. Also, to unveil the experiences of the college students who are the products of the K to 12 curriculum toward the learning English. And to give comprehensive emphasis on context with data and information about the second language learning of the college students that are product of the K to 12 curriculum as determined by their strategies and English proficiency. These are the research questions that will be answered in this study. First, what is the status of language learning strategies and English proficiency of the college students? Second, is there a significant relationship between language learning strategies and English proficiency of the college students? Third, what are the lived experiences of the college students in learning English language in the new curriculum? Fourth, what insights can the college students share with regards to the contribution of language learning strategies to their proficiency in English? And the last one, to what extent does the quantitative data corroborate with the qualitative data? And these are the methods used in this study. The first one is this study utilized a mixed methods, particularly the convergent design, to explore on the language learning experiences and strategies of the K-12 curriculum products towards learning the English language. Most of the well-known approach to the mixed method is the convergent design, which the purpose of it is to obtain different but complementary data on the same topic to best understand the research problem. The intent in using this design is to bring together the differing strengths and no overlapping weaknesses of quantitative methods with those of qualitative methods. This study was conducted among the college students, particularly the Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English students, in one of the state colleges in Davao de Oro, who are products of the K-12 curriculum. The said institution has four campuses situated at Monte Vista, Compostela, New Bataan, and Maragusan. The data for quantitative approach is analyzed through the use of the weighted mean and Pearson R product moment of correlation. The qualitative data is analyzed through the use of thematic analysis. In this figure, it is indicated the systematic procedure of the study, which demonstrated the use of convergent, parallel, and mixed method design in specific where the qualitative data and quantitative data were corroborated to obtain a clear understanding on the experiences of the participants. The quantitative phase and qualitative phase were conducted simultaneously. Now let's proceed to the result of this study. The first one is the quantitative results, which focuses on the status of language learning strategies, the English proficiency of the college students, and the relationship of the two variables. The first one is the status of language learning strategies of the college students. Per indicator, the first one, memory strategies, which has a category mean of 3.38 with a description of moderate. Cognitive strategies, which has a category mean of 3.67 with a description of high. Compensation strategies, which is a category mean of 3.55 with a description of high. Metacognitive strategies with a category mean of 3.98 with a description of high. Effective strategies, which is a category mean of 3.58 with a description of high. And the last indicator, which is social strategies, which has a category mean of 3.74 with a description of high. Based on the result, the cognitive, metacognitive, social compensation effective strategies of the college students are experienced frequently, while learning the language and the memory strategies of the college students are experienced occasionally. And with the overall mean of college students' language learning strategies employed by the college students is high. It means that language learning strategies are experienced frequently by the college students, particularly the Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English students. The next one is the status of English proficiency of the college students. The result shows that it has a mean of 13.55 with a description of low, which reveals that the level of English proficiency of the college students is low, which implies that the college students' proficiency in the English language is poor. Now to the relationship of the language learning strategies to English proficiency of college students. Based on the results, it shows that there is a significant positive strong association between language learning strategies and English proficiency. This means that if the level of English language strategies increases, the English proficiency of college students also increases. However, among the domains of language learning strategies, only compensation strategies have the significant relationship with English proficiency. This means that the increase in the level of compensation strategies would also likely increase the English proficiency of the college students. Now let's proceed to the qualitative results of this study. In the study, I have 10 participants for the in-depth interview and 7 participants for the focus group discussion. The lived experiences of the college students as regards to their learning of English language. There are 6 themes arises from thematic analysis. The first one is sustaining interest amidst fear, which means that learners have worries while learning the English language. However, amidst these uncertainties, learners still have the drive to learn the language and sustain the interest towards language learning. College students considered learning the English language as a behavioral activity in which they believe that the performance of a behavior is a joint intention and perceived behavioral control. The second one is looking through an uphill battle. Learning a second language is never easy. Learning the grammar of English as a second language is even less easy. It becomes a challenging task, especially when one is unfamiliar to the concepts or he or she is learning. Particularly, it is the case if you're learning English outside of an English speaking country. The third one is experiences enrich communicative competence. Language learners have faced many challenges while learning the language. However, through their experiences and prior knowledge, it has lessened the burden of learning the language and enriched their communicative competence. The fourth one is courage to face adversities. Struggles are part of learning, especially when one is not familiar or not a master of the field. Despite the struggles faced while learning the language, learners find ways to overcome their struggles, and these ways are used by the learners to successfully learn and effectively use the learned language. The fourth one is igniting positive language learning. To become proficient in the language, learners utilize different references to support their language learning, such as books, short stories, television shows, newspapers, and magazines. And the last one is translating excellence in multilingual contexts. Learning another language is hard work for anyone. It takes years to perfect another language, and for those who need it to improve their situation, they can be under a lot of pressure to learn it quickly and correctly. Additionally, constant rehearsal and practice is a component to become proficient in the English language. Now let's proceed to the insights of college students with regards to their contribution of language learning strategies to the learning of English. The first theme is a window of opportunities. Learners learn the language because of knowing its prime importance to one's life. More specifically, becoming a proficient user of the English language makes an individual more competitive and ready in any fields. Next, storing the student's lamp. Every learning process requires a manner or a strategy to be adapted in order to achieve the main purpose of learning. Among the important things in the process of learning are the strategies to be used for learning and how to use these strategies in certain situations. The third one is guarding with bulletproof vest. In modern education systems, learners are expected to possess an increased degree of autonomy and show initiative in learning processes, inspecting learning materials, and understanding contents. Next one is the dreaded fires of mediocrity. The act of intentionally randomizing life helps us from getting stuck in our routines, changing the environment, breaking up old routines, and being exposed to new contexts fuels new learning. New learning increases capacity, and we can all get in boxes very quickly and live our whole lives out of them. In the context of language learning, when one does not employ language learning strategies, commonness and stagnation happens. And the last theme is kindling brighter lamps through assistance. Support to language learning is an important factor. One needs scaffolds to make learning more meaningful and successful. A language learner who has enough assistance from others makes one more efficient in using the language. This will result to becoming a proficient in the English language. Now let's go to the joint display of salient qualitative and quantitative findings since this study utilizes mixed method convergent design. There are three aspects or focal points in this particular study. The first one is the language learning strategies. Students employ cognitive strategies, social, metacognitive, and affective strategies, such as reading English materials, considering their peers and experts as models to sought assistance, usage of software application and digital materials, such as online dictionaries and grammar checker application, and self-motivation to learn the language to enhance their proficiency in English language. Based on the result, college students elicit cognitive social compensation, metacognitive, and affective strategies toward language learning. This data expresses convergence to the qualitative data gathered in which cognitive strategies are represented by the data from the informants, especially reading English materials, modeling peers and experts aligns with social strategies, utilizing software, applications, and digital materials represented by metacognitive strategies, and motivation, which is considered to be part of affective strategies. The next aspect or focal point is the English proficiency of the college students, which in the result, it shows that students have an overall rating of low in the English proficiency. Specifically, the students have low scores in grammar and in reading comprehension. The results have converged to the qualitative data gathered in which students have difficulty in grammar, especially in structures of English and linguistics. Moreover, students also have experienced difficulty in reading and spelling, which are components of having a good learning and reading comprehension. And the last focal point of this study in the joint display of quantitative and qualitative data is on the relationship of language learning strategies and English proficiency of students. In the result, it shows the merging functions as diverging in the quantitative and qualitative data. The overall results reveal that the language learning strategies and English proficiency has a significant relationship. However, only compensation strategies have revealed a significant relationship to the English proficiency of the students. This diverged the result in the qualitative data because most of the students have employed social, cognitive, and metacognitive strategies that contribute to the English proficiency of the students. This means that students preferred varied strategies to be contributors in their English language proficiency. Strategies should vary from each language learners on how they employ language learning strategies toward English proficiency. Now, what is the implication of the result for the teaching English? Overall, it is therefore vital for language teachers to make learners aware of their strategies, usage, and show them how they can develop different strategies and how they can make use of them in various contexts. Next, teachers should make learners aware of their inconsistency in interlanguage and in application of strategies in order to make strategies conscious to the learner, for example, conscious training. Also, different types of strategies should be accounted for, and learners should be aware of the fact that there are both successful and less successful strategies of both types. And the institution may have to show always that learning of English is not just learning for the sake of requirement and for the sake of communication, but also to show them the benefits of learning English language for their future job prospect and personal growth and professional development. Now, to conclude and to give recommendation to this study, the conclusion of this study, the metacognitive, cognitive, social, affective, and compensation strategies of the college students is high. The memory strategies, on the other hand, has a moderate level. The English proficiency of the college students, which are products of the K-12 curriculum, is low. And overall, the language learning strategies has a significant relationship to the English proficiency of the college students. Now, to review the lived experiences of the college students with regards to their language learning, sustaining interest amidst fear, looking through an uphill battle, experiences in rich communicative competence, courage to face adversities, ignite positive language learning, and translate excellence in multilingual contexts. And with the insights of the college students with regards to their language learning strategies to the learning of English, it becomes a window of opportunities. It towers the student's lamp. It guards with bulletproof vest, dreaded fires of mediocrity, and kindling brighter lamps through assistance. The language learning strategies employed by the college students are convergent to the lived experiences of the college students. The English proficiency is convergent to the lived experiences of the students. And the compensation strategies is divergent to the strategies employed by the college students, since the college students employed social, cognitive, and metacognitive strategies. Recommendations of this study: it is recommended that teachers need to come up with contextualized strategies and activities that would allow students to seek occasions to develop their memory strategies, such as laying things out in order, making association, and reviewing. It is recommended also that administrators may provide assistance to the language learning of the college students. Also, teachers may provide learning experiences that would develop other language learning strategies, such as but not limited to talking to people, using internet, writing letters to foreign friends, creating their own dictionary, peer tutoring, reading activities, writing summaries or outlines of the structures that they are learning, and other techniques and strategies that can be used or utilized inside the classroom. And lastly, it is recommended that this study would be conducted again in different corpus and locality to confirm and validate that compensation strategies as one of the domains of language learning strategies do really influence the English proficiency of the college students. That's it. That is my completed thesis entitled Unfolding the Lived Experiences of the College Students' Language Learning Strategies vis-a-vis their English proficiency, a convergent design. Thank you for listening, and may the Lord bless us all.
That was our third presenter for today, Mr. Pedro P. Raimunde Jr. Congratulations, sir. That was wonderful. On the unfolding, the lived experience of the college students' language learning strategies vis-a-vis their English proficiency, a convergent design. Thank you so much. And we are now on our fourth presenter for today, Ezekiel Gomiter, Discourse in the Courtroom, a Forensic Linguistic Analysis.
To all my colleagues who continually contribute in research advancement and development, a pleasant day to all of you. First, I would like to introduce my name. I am Ezekiel C. Gometer, LPT, a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, and currently taking up Masters in Education, specializing in teaching English at Corioso College Incorporated, Digos City, province of Davao del Sur, Philippines, continent of Asia. Now let me present our research title. So we have here Discourse in the Courtroom, a Forensic Linguistic Analysis. But before I actually proceed to my presentation, I would also like to recognize my co-researchers, Dixon Zanji Roble, LPT, and Jerome C. Damo, LPT. Now, communication can be defined as the process of transmitting information from one person to another, as what Keaton in 2011 had said. In communication, language use is unavoidable. However, another thing we cannot avoid in communication is misunderstanding. This is very true in the field of law, especially in court trials. In the Philippines, Ranada in 2016 reported that in 2013, only 28.56% of crimes have been solved, as compared to the 89.86% way back in 2004. This is very alarming, not just because the number of unsolved cases exceeds the latter, but also because of the fact that there are certain cases here in the Philippines which have been dismissed but were actually given a wrong verdict by the court. This is why the researchers believe that in order for court interpretations to increase in validity and reliability, court interpreters or forensic linguists should be given a role in judging the outcome of a case. In fact, Stateline in 2016 reported that misunderstandings are common in state and in local courts because many states and localities do not utilize tested court interpreters and ignore federal rules. Moreover, Ogonsihi and Farinde in 2012 found out that expressions of people are open for interpretation by the hearers, thereby resulting to misguided understanding, miscommunication, and eventually disagreement. This is the reason why understanding language used in forensic and judicial processes is deemed significant. Finally, Katoto in 2017 stresses how witnesses have the prerogative on what to say, but they should understand and be very careful to the questions of the prosecutors. Some witnesses were unable to remember the events of the circumstances, thus violating conversational maxims. Now, with all the presented data, indeed, there is a need to conduct the study. Now, for the research questions, number one, What maxims are violated on the responses of the victims, complainants, suspects or accused, and witnesses of multiple cases during court trials? And number two, what are the implications of the violated maxims? For the theoretical lens, first, this study is viewed in the lens of Grice in 1995 in his study on conversational maxims and implicatures. For the maxims, we have maxim of quality or truthfulness, maxim of quantity or sufficiency of the answer, maxim of manner, the appropriateness of the delivery of the answer, and maxim of relevance or the connection of the answer to the given question. And when we say implicatures, these are the implied meaning of those responses that violated the maxims. And this study is also viewed in the lens of Leonard in 2005 in his contribution on forensic linguistics, which he defined as the science that responds to legal questions that are related to language. Now, for the methods, we used a qualitative research design in order for us to analyze why and how problems and misunderstanding occur inside the courtroom. Content analysis was also utilized to provide a textual analysis of the documented discourse inside the courtroom. For the data collection, since we are using content analysis, our research materials are in the form of research corpora. Clark and Braun in 2014 stated that a good number of corpora utilized in a content analysis is 10 to 100. With that, we utilize 10 transcribed stenographer's notes or TSNs taken from more than 3 cases, which include murder, rape, theft, estafa, robbery, PD 533 or Anti-Cattle Rustling Law of 1974, and drugs. We also made sure that we adhere to the principle and norms of privacy and confidentiality by making sure that we hide the names of those people involved in these cases through code names. Now, for the data analysis, before analyzing the data, we first categorize them in relation to the conversational maxims of Grice in 1975. To do this, we use different colors in highlighting those answers which adhered and violated the maxims of Grice, but only for quantity, relation, and manner. This is one of the limitations of our study because we cannot include maxim of quality since we are not a judge and us researchers, we do not qualify ourselves as people who can assure that what was said or the responses were truthful or not. And after doing this, we then proceeded to the content analysis of the different excerpts taken from the TSNs using a summative approach in analyzing their content. Now let's proceed to the results and discussion. In this part, I will be presenting excerpts taken from the said TSNs, and these excerpts are those that violated the maxims, and I will be including discussion and the implicatures of these responses. First, we have maxim of manner. So this is taken from TSN1. Question: you mentioned also the person of XXX. Who is this person? Answer: XXX is a hilot from Sitio Anuling who is helping in delivering a baby, sir. Now, Xiaosu in 2008 asserted that what is said should be expressed in a direct, clear, brief, and orderly way without any other communicative intention involved. The interviewee could have just said that XXX is a hilot, since the question posed by the interviewer was, who is this person? A simple reply would have sufficed the interviewer's question. However, an implicature of the response would be that the interviewee means to inform the interviewer that the person he was asking is a hilot who specialized in delivering babies and not those helots who are faith healers or quack doctors. Because hilot in the Philippines or helots in the Philippines have two meanings. So those people who can deliver babies and those people who can heal other people through any form of faith or quackery. Next, we have the maxim of quantity. So this is taken from TSN 8. Question: why did you not take pictures of the crumb dryers that you bought during auction? Did you not think that you will be filing a case in court? Answer: I did not, ma'am. Now, Liu in 2012 explains that when a speaker blatantly gives more or less information than the situation requires, flouting or violation of the maxim of quantity occurs. In the case of the answer of the interviewee, the answer can only be associated with a second question since the first question required a more comprehensive answer rather than a short response only. However, an implicator of the response would be that the interviewee was not sure whether to answer the first question or the second question. So it would benefit both of them if the interviewer had waited for the interviewee to answer the first question first before asking the second question. And for the maximum of relevance, so this is taken from TSN 1. Question: how many sacks of corn did you deliver to XXX? Answer: it was 61 kilos, sir. Now, in the case of maximum of relevance, Bryce in 1975 said that responses must conform to what is being asked in order to acquire a symmetry or alignment with the former and the latter. In the excerpt taken from TSN 1, the question given by the interviewer clearly requires an answer that will tell him how many sacks of corn the interviewee delivered to XXX. However, the interviewee failed to give a relevant answer to the question since he or she only talked about how heavy the objects were. However, an implicator of the response would be that the delivered sacks of corn can be one sack with an excess of 11 kilos, because one sack of rice or one sack of corn is equivalent to 50 kilos. Now, for the conclusion, the researchers conclude that in analyzing any written or spoken discourse, not only one factor should be considered to conclude and prove that one is saying the truth or not. Furthermore, we should always consider that in every response we utter, we adhere to the maxims of quality, quantity, manner, and relevance to avoid misunderstanding. Now, for the recommendations of the study, first, for policy and practice, legal practitioners should employ linguistic analysis first to give another perspective in coming up of an unbiased interpretation of a case. And for future researchers, they should observe court hearings to accurately analyze the responses in court trials. Now, for the insights and realizations of the researchers, so in behalf of my team, I believe that indeed, literally and figuratively, there is no I in the word team. Although one is capable of conducting a study alone, it would be more effective, more feasible, and more cost efficient if a study is conducted as a team. Truly, if two heads are better than one, how about a million heads? And to end my presentation, so here are also some of the references that we cited in our study. And with that, I end my presentation. Again, my name is Ezekiel C. Dometer. Good day, and may the Lord we serve bless us all.
Thank you to our fourth presenter, Ezekiel Gumeter. Thank you so much, sir. And that has been so wonderful. This course in the courtroom, a forensic linguistic analysis. Thank you so much. And we also would like to thank our presenters for today. This has been so comprehensive and very brilliant of our presenters today on this third International Conference on Scholarly Writing and Research Publishing for Global Branding 2020. Thank you, Mr. Richard Di Palobos Jr., Mr. Randy Tudi, Mr. Frederick Dumagan, Miss Hel Marie Tiboron, Mr. Pedro P. Raimunde Jr., and Mr. Ezekiel Gumeter. These are, or those are our presenters for today in our first day in our 2-day International Research Conference, spearheaded by the no less than, of course, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet, the Dean of the Graduate School, Rizal Memorial Colleges, Davao City, Philippines. And this time, we have to call him back once again, live on screen, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet. Hello, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet. Okay, so we're back once again, live and alive, together with the Dean of the Graduate School of the Rizal Memorial Colleges. We also would like to thank the school president, Dr. Evelyn Abellera Magno. Thank you, madam. And she is now celebrating Thanksgiving all the way from the United States of America. Thank you, madam. And while waiting for Dr. Pablo F. Busquet, as he is going to be in our screen live once again in our afternoon session. Hello, Dr. Busquet.
Good afternoon, Philippines.
Kindly unmute.
Okay, I would like to give thanks for today's event to the viewers, to our participants, to our friends. I am pretty well know that you have gained insights derived from the wisdom of our keynote speakers as well as the presenters in their research presentation. May I encourage you once again to sustain your viewing capabilities until tomorrow's session. Thank you, my dear viewers, friends. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet. Okay, sir. This has been a wonderful day, sir. Comprehensive and very detailed, of course, with our keynote speakers. Brilliant as they are, together with our presenters of today. And still, we are looking forward to having them in our next gathering of our Research International Conference. That was Dr. Pablo F. Busquet. And of course, still looking forward live tomorrow together with Dr. Pablo F. Busquet, the Dean of the Graduate School, Rizal Memorial Colleges, Davao City, Philippines. It is our pleasure to conduct the third of the many series of the annual academic conferences exploring digital technology on the e-learning platforms such as this, the StreamYard Live through the FB and the YouTube, to effectively utilize teaching, learning, and educational administration as well. We are fortunate to have our presenters today who share their studies on this third international conference on their scholarly writing and research publishing of Global Branding 2020. This conference has capitalized our strengths that are built in our common commitment to promoting effective use of our studies in the diverse modes of education. Our new platform on this 2020 has always been penetrating areas of operations of education, entwined with our educational practices to benefit the essential education professionals set themselves ready for transforming their best practices and keep recognizing efficient ways for the transformation and contexts. Wow, that's quite a lot. Thank you so much to our presenters as well as our keynote speakers of today. We still have more for tomorrow. And thank you once again to our beautiful President, Dr. Evelyn Abellera Magno, Dr. Pablo F. Busquet, the Dean of the Graduate School, Dr. Lourdes C. Cabintoy, the Vice President for the Academic Affairs. We have Mr. Leo Tereso A. Magno, Mr. Ernesto Rafael V. Rubilio. Thank you so much for making this a remarkable one. This is just the beginning of today, and actually, this is going to be a third day in the process. So this has been a successful one, and looking forward to more of this tomorrow and on the third day. This has been Maureen Ava B. Acuna, your virtual host, and we are officially closing our first day conference in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so